Hey, legends, welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me as usual from across the Dutch in New Zealand is Willie. How you going, mate?
Oh, cheer, my bro. I'm going all
Easy,
right. I'm
bro.
going all right.
Cheers.
Cheer. It's
Yeah,
going all right here in New Zealand. It's winter setting in. It's slowly getting round. It's getting a bit wetter. It's getting a bit colder. Still in the mid to low teens, so it's still quite warm by comparison to where I grew up. But we're doing all right here.
fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Yeah, it's all good over here too. Same old deal, but doesn't not as fresh as you, mate. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a cold weekend, so yeah, fun times. But anyway, I think that's the non-Celtic talk out of the way for the pod, I suppose.
Yeah.
We've got Anne Smith is saying good morning from sunny Scotland. Happy days. G'day troopers from Smell the Glove. Love it. Jerry Burns, g'day CDU team and heavy vibes. Hail boys, what a win. Yeah, on that heavy vibes. What a win, huh? The way I look at it is it's been a long as day for myself. Up at like 4:45 a.m. watch the game and then do the whole day ahead of you. So yeah, it's the joys of having a midweek game, early kickoff for us down here. I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. Square sausage mig, hail my upside down chums.
So what that says, I was struggling with that one. I was trying not to actually go upside down to read it.
No, Willie, I only learn it because I had to he's put that in there a few times. Mick has, so that's good. And then John, morning Jared and Willie, or is it Wally? Hope you enjoyed the photos. Yeah, saw them, John. Looked like you had a blast there. Great job. Enjoying that. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting talk here. So I named the pod. What did I call it again? Something about the reserves, Ruthless Reserves. That's the one, because it was a pretty funny situation going into this game. Like Brendan had said that he'd already told the squad the lineup for last weekend's game and this game going into them both. So he said there was going to be some changes. For me, I was expecting maybe 4 or 5, right? And then we get the lineup, and I'm like, what? We got 8 changes. This is insane. So yeah, that was my thoughts when I saw that starting lineup. So I'll go through it, Willie, and I'll just get your thoughts on it. So basically, we had Sinosalo come back in. We had Schlupp, Trusty, Naroski, and Ralston. In the middle of the park, we had Bernardo, McGregor, and McCowan. And up front, Johnny Kenny got the start with Yang on the left and Forrest on the right. So, yeah, bit of a change there. What was your thoughts when you saw that, and how are you feeling heading into the game?
I was quite confident going into the game, but when I saw the lineup, when I saw 8 changes, I thought, "Oh, this could be interesting." Because sometimes when we make as many changes as that, we kind of struggle to get the fluidity to the team. But there was no real, so there was none of that there present tonight or this morning. Even like the team seemed to play pretty well. I think Kenny was the biggest surprise for me coming in. It, I thought he might have got a half, but I don't think he would get the start. But other than that, the league's done and dusted. Yeah, the boys need some times. There's some positions available. I think there's less bench spots available for the cup final than there is in a normal league game. So they're obviously playing for that place. So it was a good opportunity for them to go out there and show their worth and show them that they're worthy of that one of that spots on the bench and hand them when the cup final rolls around. So
Yeah, I agree, Willie. It's looked like guys were trying to, there's some guys who are in form. You got people who haven't had a chance to play a lot of the time because of other guys in front of them in great form. Like if you have a look at the striker situation or the left wing situation, if you're Yang and you're trying to get into a wing and you've got Jota, Kun, and Maeda in front of you, it's hard to get a game, right? And you got Jamesy, same deal. If you're Johnny Kenny, you've got Eder and Maeda in front of you, it's hard to get a game. So these guys to get in there, and I said on Monday I wouldn't mind. I didn't know if Kenny would start, but I said I wanted to see him get at least half a game. So I'm happy with what we got from him. But yeah, it was just one of them where a lot of the guys who came in, sometimes when you have a lot of change, you have a lot of it's the disruption because, sometimes the players coming in, they don't have the right mentality, right? But you look at the guys who came in for this game, like Johnny Kenny, he doesn't mind getting out there and kicking lumps out of people. He's a pretty solid guy. Luke McCowan, he's a competitor. He'll get out there and he will just have a crack, right? Paulo Bernardo coming in, former Portuguese under-21 national captain. Like, he's a quality player there. Yang, every time I've seen him this season, hits the ground, he's just looking more and more aggressive and more at ease and more like a Celtic player every time I see him out there. And then you look at down the back, like Trusty, yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit later on, but Naroski coming in, I don't think he's done a thing wrong anytime we've seen him this season. The thing with Naroski is that the rumours are that he just can't train at the level that Brendan requires because of his fitness and pre-existing injuries and stuff. That's why he doesn't get a game. Like, he's a fair player there. The Bricky, whenever he plays, like, enough said, that guy will run through walls for you. Schlupp's just a big unit. And then Sinisalo coming in, he's not afraid to tell his defence what to do, and he commands his area. So, yeah, overall, everyone coming in, they've got that competitive spirit, and that's something that we have not just through our starting 11 and a couple of sub, but we've got it through our whole squad. So for me, looking at that, I wasn't worried about the fight that our guys would put out there with a lot of changes. It's more, can we put in a full 90-minute performance in back-to-back games with different lineups? Because we played that full 90 minutes on the weekend. And in this game, are we going to give the full 90 minutes again? So there's a couple of players there that it was probably two players I wasn't happy with the performance from them for us. The rest of the team, I was very happy with.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain. The guys have come out of there. They come out of the cold 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Someone like Johnny Kenny, he ran his heart out for the time he was on the pitch. I don't think he's the physical brute that he does, who's going to sit on it, push his body weight onto a defender and try and ruffle him up that way. He likes to sit on the shoulder of them and peel off them when the breaks happen, and that a different kind of striker to what we have there. And like, for me, I was impressed with McCowan. I think we sort of played that 4-2-3-1 kind of formation again, where McCowan sat in front of Bernardo and McGregor. And he played a lot of good balls. I mean, James Forrest as well came in, and he had a fantastic performance, 2 assists. He just didn't get the goal he was needed, but it was a good game of football. It was thoroughly enjoyable, and it's good to see that our second string comfortably can take apart an Aberdeen team. I mean, for me, that second string team there would comfortably finish third in the league. So it is a good performance, and it was great to watch. Like,
Come on, Willie. Come on, mate. You're saying they comfortably finished third. I was talking to my wife before, and I was trying to figure out the name for the pod, and I was going to say, I was contemplating naming it. We also have the second best team in Scotland. That's what I was contemplating, but I couldn't figure out how to make it, work a bit better for the good old algorithm. So I didn't want to open it up to Huns as well. So there you go. But yeah, like the team we had out there, if that team played every week, say if you were to take McGregor out and put, I don't know, who else we got in the midfield, bring Odin home back and put him into that spot, right? And you were this exact team on that pitch every day, like every game next season, I reckon this team would give Rangers a shake for second. Because there's a lot of competitors. There's a lot of competitors there, Willie.
Yep.
And we know they're bottle merchants across the river. So there you go. They'd get into a scrap and they'd be like, oh yeah, here we go, and then they'll fall apart. So the thing with Johnny Kenny as well, you touched on, like you're saying, he's not as physical as Eder. I was talking to a guy at the Jocks, not the Jocks, in the Ange Postecoglou CSC down here in Melbourne at the Derby, like a couple of weeks back, and this guy has just moved over here. He signed with one of the NPL clubs. He was playing in the League of Ireland. He's a centre back, tiny centre back, but and he was saying Johnny Kenny, he's just a brute. Like, he will hit you hard, but he's got that movement. And he was saying he's kind of the halfway point between Eder's physicality and movement and Kyogo's speed and movement. That's the way he tends to play. He can sit back and he'll press hard, like Kyogo does, but then he can also link up the ball as a false nine. So that's what I got told about a guy who's played against him for the last year as well. So yeah, I had no problems with Johnny Kenny. I want to see more of him. But yeah, we'll get into the game a little bit. So first half, I think it was a bit of an interesting one for us where we got in there, got stuck in, got into our rhythms. The press was working well. We were making some dangerous crosses, controlled the play, and then yeah, we could have had a couple of early goals. They then Simasalo made a decent save as well. Then yeah, it all went a bit funny buggers a bit later on in the half. So yeah, Naroski. Oh, now the first thing I want to say is the yellow card for what's their guy's name who got sent off, Dorrington, just sticking a leg out and hammering Yang. Yang was flying down that wing. I didn't realize he was as quick as he is. So that was a pretty soft yellow, but the right call. And then yeah, we come up. Naroski scores a nice header. We were talking about that off air. Just just out jumped him. Like it was great the way he headed across the goal and down away from the keeper, but he just there was two centre backs in front of him, and he just out jumped them both, got his big head to it, and bang off his done. So I thought that was a class goal. What do you think about that, Willie?
Yeah, I really liked the goal. I liked the way he just sort of dominated his man in the middle of the box. He got to the centre of the 6 yard line, got at him, got his header back across the goalkeeper, leaving him no chance right into the bottom corner. I thought Navrojki had a fantastic performance for the full 90 minutes, but it was a great header, like.
Yeah, he did well both ends of the pitch, so that was great. Then yeah, there was that stoppage for the medical emergency in the stands. So the class thing that I liked seeing was the players on the pitch noticed it. Both teams put their hands up, waving, got the ref's attention. He stopped the game immediately, and then the medical staff from both teams just went pinging it as fast as they can across the field to go help the guy. So yeah, great to see that sportsmanship in there. Also great to see there's some good humans out there looking after each other. So yeah, I was just the person who passed out from what I've heard it was. Hope you're feeling better. And yeah, you know, not ideal having that sort of thing happen. I know what it's like being at a stadium having medical emergency. Happened to my mum a few years back. So yeah, I get it. So yeah, not ideal, but it was great the way it played out in terms of that. But then that match being stopped, Willie, the momentum that we had completely just disappeared. And that's where Aberdeen got on top for a 5, 8 minute burst, something like that. It was a 7 minute stoppage. And then they got on top off the back of that and they scored quickly off the restart with Kevin Nisbet scoring. And then they could have had a second. They were up and about. They were right up on us at that point in time. We weathered that storm, and then pretty much last kick of the first half, Yang scores, and we go into the break up 2-1. So, what was your thoughts about the whole medical thing and then the second goal?
It's good to see the medical thing that the referee managed to stop the game to get our medics over there to have a look, see what was going on, and make safe the situation. It's always good to see that. Like, I was wondering what Stevie McLean was signalling at because I by that point through the day I had to go to work, so I'll just rewatch the game there just before I come on here. So I was wondering, I was trying to think, was somebody go down, and I was looking across the pitch, but for the footage, but nobody was down, and then all of a sudden, both sets of them ran off. I thought, well, it's obviously somebody in the crowd. Something's happened here. So it's good to see the humanity in it all. Right. So kudos to everyone involved in getting out there and making that guy go home safer rather than in a box, as it's happened with some people. But as for the goals, the Yang's goal was a great goal. James Forrest just rinsed Shinnie the whole game through. That Shinnie is just so painfully slow to watch now. It's just like, oh my god! Like James Forrest is 30 something now, and he's lost a yard of pace, but it looked like vintage James Forrest running at 100 mile an hour there against him. So yeah, it was a great goal. Forrest got his shot cross come shot away, and it hit off the Aberdeen defender, and Yang was his quickest to react, bounced back out and get the ball in. So good goal. But overall, the first half, I mean, we had 73% possession, 90% passing accuracy. So 10 shots, 5 on target, 3 off target. It kind of shows the dominance we had. And yeah, you're right. That little 5 minute spell after the restart, we did sort of lose our way, and Nesbitt got his goal well. I don't know what was going on there. Like, for me, I think Trusty should have been marking Nesbitt. He's a centre half and he's a centre forward. But for some reason, Trusty's moved forward to pick up somebody else, and he's left Nesbitt alone, where he's in front of Schloop, and Schloop can't get above him and get the header away. So Nesbitt was always going to be favourite when he's in front of Schloop. So it was just poor defending all round and a sloppy little goal to lose. Like, so.
Yeah, it was. That's why I said we'll talk about Trusty a bit later, because this is where I was going to come to it. Like, exactly how I saw it, Willie. There was a cock up between Trusty and Schlupp. Like, should Schlupp have been up a bit higher? I don't know, which maybe he would have potentially been there, able to contest it a bit easier, maybe. But he's not going to think that his centre back inside of him is going to completely just like hang him out to dry by doing what he did. So it was a bit of a it was just a bit of an average all round setup, and got to do better. But yeah, we bounced back, we weathered that storm, and off we went.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, we deserved to go in at half time in the lead. Like, it was, there was no qualms about it. We did deserve to be in front. Like, so for me, going 2-1 in at half time, just I think we could have been a couple more up actually. But for me, being in the lead was all that was a matter. Like.
Yeah, like realistically, we could have scored a couple of goals in the first 15 minutes. They could have had one. So it could have been 2-1 after 15, 20 minutes. So the fact that it's 2-1 at half time shows that there was plenty in that half. As you said, 10 shots, 5 on target. We could have been 3 or 4 to the good at half time, like goals in at half time, and been a couple ahead. Yeah. So I'm not too worried that it was only 2-1 at half time. Like, the scoreboard was the right way. Yeah, we made a mistake, but we addressed it. We weathered that storm, and then we got on with it. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. I'm just going to go through some of these comments, and then we'll get into the second half. So Robert Gibson is saying, spank the sheep with the B team. Smell the glove is waiting for the 5-minute rule to be over. Franny Weldon, good to see you, Franny. All right, lads, great to see Johnny get his goal. Young McArdle looks promising too. And then Square Sausage Mick is saying, like the look of McArdle, will he be the next rising star to leave? We're going to go into the academy pathways and McArdle in particular later on in the pod, because after seeing what he's done the last couple of games, I'm liking the look of him too, and I wanted to dive into that a bit more with Willie, so I'll keep my powder dry on that one there. Square Sausage Mick is also saying Aberdeen were total pish. Well, we kind of knew that going in, considering that they'd lost 4-0 to the Rangers on the weekend before it, so we kind of expected that. So John Hutchison saying that was Aberdeen's best 11, a fear for them in the final. Smell the Gloves is saying only 2 Tavernier disappointments, Rio's injury and Jamesy not getting that goal. And then John saying Jeff was shit last night. I would kind of agree overall. Him and Trusty were the two that I wasn't impressed with, but everyone else I was happy with. McLaughlin saying he's actually not bad in the air. He's young. He could have done better with his chance, but I've seen him win a few headers now. So Heavy Vibes are saying Trusty was bullied again. Every time camera was on him, he was getting pushed about like a nerd. Yeah, so one thing you said, Willie, that I wanted to talk about. Oh, here we go. Square Sausage Mick. First few games, we all raved about Schlupp. WTF has happened to him? Yeah, after those first 2 or 3, I'm here saying sign him up, get him in, make him sign up, and I'm glad we haven't signed anything yet, because yeah, I'm at the point where I'm like, we could do better. I'd actually rather, if Tierney's coming in, we keep Taylor, great. If we can't keep Taylor, we can get someone else. I've said it a few times, but Mackenzie at Aberdeen, he could do a job for us. But then, or you've got the guy over at Hearts, their left back would be decent as well. And then we've got our young guys coming through like Mitchell Frame and Matt Anderson and so on. There's a bunch of them there. So we've got plenty of options. So, yeah, just you don't want Schlupp having that happen there. Heavy vibes of saying Schlupp hiding in plain sight. Yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting one. Smell the glove saying about the medical thing. A football stadium is probably the best place to be if you get ill outside a hospital with all the medics. And they usually have an ambulance on site too in case you need to get out of the hospital. So yeah, it's pretty good thing here. So yeah, it's and this is what I want to tie back into what you said early on about Shinny. John Clever's saying beautiful to see James Forrest ripping Shinny a new ass. And then Simon Fedeni is saying I'd have been as well playing left back after seeing Shinny. So it's one of those things where when Shinny was at the peak of his powers, Willie, what position was he playing against us when, Derek McInnes was their manager? Do you remember that?
I'm pretty sure he was a defensive midfielder. Did Scott Brown not rinse him on many an occasion?
Absolutely. Exactly. So usually if you're playing out on a wing or as a fullback, you're younger, you've got some legs. And then when your legs start to die, if you're a fullback, you either go to centre back or you come into a defensive midfielder role if you've got the ability to still do some running. So he was already playing in that role previously. And now he's back out at fullback again. No wonder he's getting absolutely pantsed by James Forrest. And then we got Smell the Glove was saying, Big Sutton saying Shinny can't deal with Jamesy due to older legs. Jamesy is a month older than Shinny. Spot on. Elephantitis. Not a name. There we go. I'm the nuts. Love it. Morning, folks. Hope all as well. Square Sausage Mick, tell you one thing, I prefer Rocky over Trusty any day. Just scrolling through some more comments here. There we go. Young Anderson, yep. Penrice, that's the one at Hearts that I was talking about as well. I always struggle to remember his name for some reason. Don't know why. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Willie's, there we go. Don't know what's going on there, so we'll crack on anyway, and then see what happens when Willie's back because he just turned his computer off. Probably gone to the toilet, Willie has. There we go. Desi O'Connor. Aberdeen are a bunch of hammer-throwing muppets trying to hurt our creative players, hoping it will save them getting embarrassed in the final. Trusty needs to grow a pair. Yep. And then Franny Weldon, how dirty were Aberdeen last night? Foul after foul after foul. They're clever about it, though. It's never the same player fouling 2 or 3 in a row. It's like they have 3 or 4 guys just cluttering people. So the ref can't card the same person over and over and over. So, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. But second half, I wanted to throw this one to Willie to give us his thoughts on that. But, yeah, I just thought the second half was just we went out there and just played football, played nice, open, attacking football. And, yeah, I have no complaints the second half. I watched it live, watched the replay. My brain's still mush because I was watching it when I should have been sleeping. So nothing really jumped off the page. There was a few good crosses and some good finishing all round. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Willie here. So, yeah, yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. No, he's back.
Sorry about that. Bluetooth headphones died. So
I just told everyone you're into the toilet, Willie. You needed to go for a jobby.
Aye, yeah. I wish it was as simple as that, but it's more concerning. My earbuds are dead. They're supposed to be fully charged and they're dead. So that's not good.
Technology.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts in the second half?
That was a good second half football, actually. I think we went out slightly less possession overall, but 90% passing accuracy for the half again. It's pretty good. 15 shots, 9 on, 4 off. I think the second two goals were scored by the 55th minute, so the game was well put to bed, and then it was just a case of passing the ball around, getting just getting comfortable, try and open the map, let them tire them out, and just try and work them about the pitch and open the map and use the subs well. So I thought it was a good second half of football, and the emergence of McCardle was a real positive for me because it was a joy to watch him. He's got a nice little touch on him, so it's probably the biggest positive of the second half. And the biggest negative would be Hatate's injury. I don't know what Papagay was playing at, and I don't know why the referee didn't pick it up. But it was a pretty rash challenge.
It was grubby, Willie. I'm just going to say it. The guy, that's just a grubby tackle. Like, there's no point for that. Like, as Brendan said, and that's something, one of the things I wanted to talk about was it doesn't look good. It was ice shot on the knee and he was off. And we'd never see Brendan raging about things on the sideline very often. The fact that he was up, absolutely raging at the ref about the tackle that caused the injury, like, it was a disgusting tackle. There was no spot for it. And, yeah, he kind of lost his, he lost the rag a bit, their big striker. So, yeah, he should have definitely copped at least some booking for that. There's a couple of comments here saying it was a dirty game, and Pete McGee saying the ref should have sent off 3 of them last night. I don't think it would have been 3. I reckon that tackle on Rio was touch and go, and then the other guy getting sent off, Dorrington. Yep, spot on. But yeah, it's just it's a bit of a dodgy situation, all things considered.
I think the boy Dorrington was lucky not to be sent off earlier. I mean, McCowan was making a move. I think it was in our own box actually, and Dorrington just put his hand out in his throat and pushed him to the ground. And I kind of thought that might have been a booking in its own right, like, but the referee decided to ignore that one too.
Yep. So Elephantitis of the Nuts is saying, I didn't think it was a dirty game last night apart from the big guy following through on Hatate. And then Square Sausage Mick is, what's the news on Rio? Well, what I've heard is it's ligaments, but we don't know if it's just a sprain, if it's a tear, or what the go is. But 10 days out from a cup final, he might be racing the clock to be back for that, which pretty much sums in why they would have done it, because they don't want to get embarrassed by him in the cup final. So, yeah, we've got here. McLaughlin saying he had Celtic half time. Guy had to have a shot on target, a red card, and Schlupp to get booked in a bit builder. Yeah, that didn't go down too well. But then why couldn't Schlupp go mad for a minute? Yeah, someone should have got in his face and absolutely just like, if you did that when Bruni's around, you would have been right in their face. Like, we're missing that old-fashioned hard man. But yeah, it's like JD88 saying unsportsmanlike to a fellow pro, stupid challenge with a striker, should have been sent off. And then Pete McGee saying 2 of them on a yellow should have been booked again and off. Good point, Pete. Good point. Yeah, so yeah, it's not a good look, but yeah, we'll get in the cup final about him and absolutely smack him around a bit. So yeah, Willie, you got any of the goals you want to touch on? I think you're mute again, Willie.
I think all 3 goals in the second half were pretty good. I mean, Luke McCowan was quite a tidy finish from close range and just rifled it past the goalkeeper. Like Luke McCowan, a great header. He peeled off his man. He sort of left a late sort of run. He had one man on one side of him and a guy in the front, and he just came across the back of the guy to get a header across the goal. And then I think it was a really, really good header. A second good header was just gone away from the keeper. And then there was Ida's right-footed shot from close range into the bottom corner. So 3 good goals, 3 well-worked goals, and 5-1 just sort of gives you that nice scoreline that you like to see at the end of a game.
Yeah, as I said when you're off there, Willie, before, it was just a really open and well played second half from us. I thought we managed the game well, finished our chances, and yeah, the scoreboard reflects exactly what it should have been. So with that in mind, and with the rotation that we had with the 8 changes, did any of our squad players impress you enough from their efforts in this game to think they could have a future with us, depending upon beyond this season? The reason I'm asking that is because there's a few players in this game that I thought would probably get moved on in the summer, and now I'm looking at it going, well, could they be something there? So Naroski, that's one I'm throwing up there. That's a name I'm going to throw up there. Another one I'll throw out there is Yang. I've said put him out on loan next season. I'd still keep him at the club. I wouldn't want to sell him, but I'd want to put him on loan and get him a whole season and play him week in, week out. See if he can handle the grind over, 38 games or whatever it is over a season. But then the other one is Johnny Kenny. I'm being impressed with what I've seen from him. So, yeah, I would have thought he'd be moving, probably go back to Ireland or whatever. But if he's breaking in and doing well, then looks like we've got to do that. And then young McArdle, when he come on, I was impressed by what I saw with him as well. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Willie?
For me, Nawrocki was man of the match. I thought Nawrocki was superb. There was a couple of times Aberdeen tried to play passes through the line, and he just stepped out, picked up the ball, and moved it on. I thought he was really, really good, and I was surprised for somebody to come out of the cold like that and play so well. You think he'd been in the team for months. It was just great to see. So for me, definitely, I would have thought maybe moving Nawrocki on in the summer would have been right up there on the list because we're probably going to look for centre halves. But no, I would be looking to keep him now because the couple of times he has come in, he's done well. I mean, he came in at the game at Ibrox. Okay, we lost, but he did well enough. You know what I mean? He was probably one of the only Celtic players that got a pass mark at that game. But yeah, like you say, Young definitely impressed last night. He was really good. He was direct. He was pacey. He took his goal pretty well. He was quick to react to it. And young McArdle, so some of the touches, some of the deft little touches he was showing there is beyond his years. So yeah, it's good to see.
I'm just going to bring up this comment from earlier from John Clements where he goes, it's a bit baffling why Brendan insists on playing two left footers when CCV is out. Mike looked really good on the right side. And that's the thing, I think CCV is our starting centre back. Naroski can be his backup. And in the right centre back position is sell Naroski, right, and clear up some space. Well, at the end of the day, I would like, if we can get a starting quality European level left centre back, great. I'd keep Scales as his backup, and Scales can also get some game time at left back domestically if need be. But of our current back, like a centre back rotation, I think Naroski, in my opinion, has gone above Trusty in terms of our squad balance, because if you've got to keep Scales and Trusty, Scales works better when he's paired with CCV than Trusty does. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. There's one other comment about today's thing from Smell the Glove. About 15,000 sheep shaggers probably sending back their tickets today. Cup final, so that could be an interesting one as well. But what are you thinking, Willie? If you had to get rid of one of our centre backs,
Right now, it would be Trusty. I think there might be something there with Trusty. I would probably give him another season, but at this moment in time, he'd be my fourth choice out of the four of them.
yeah. So for me, realistically, we could even go, all right, we bring in one more centre back anyway, because the way I look at it is we've got Lagerbalk on the books. He's going to be sold. We've got Welsh. He needs to move on for his own career, basically. He needs to play week in, week out. We've got Dane Murray. If he can stay fit, there's your fifth option at centre back. So then it becomes, do we get rid of one person or not? What do we do? Do we sell one and do we get rid of Scales, or do we get rid of Trusty and bring someone in? Do we get rid of Naroski if he wants to move on and bring someone in there? What do we do? So there's a whole bunch of permutations and stuff that could happen. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. We'll talk about all that later on anyway. But yeah, you said your man of the match was Naroski. He's right up there with me. Jamesy Forrest was also in the same, along with his assists. The only thing missing was that goal. So yeah, it's overall, I think man of the match would have been one of those two. Although I do want to give a special mention to Sinisalo with a few saves when he didn't have much to do for about a good 20, 30 minutes. And then out of the blue makes it, he's switched on the whole time, which is great to see. The amount of times we've had a backup keeper in, and whether it's Bainzo or someone like that, and he leaks a goal for no reason. It's just great to see we don't have that issue at the moment. And then we got here, Franny Weldon. Can't believe fans were moaning at Sinisalo playing it long at times last night. Better safe than sorry. It also mixes it up a bit, Franny. Like, if a team's pressing you the way they were pressing us, then we've got like a second line in the midfield that's open, just chip the ball over the top of the centre backs, get it to your midfield, and off you go. Or pump it up long to the winger and hit them on a counter. If they're going to throw that many numbers forward, you get after it. So, yeah, it's I just like it. Sometimes you play with the ball at your feet. Sometimes you just got to put the ball into row Z. Sometimes you just got to, get it in the mixer and just blast it up the field. There's nothing wrong with that.
Listen, he's comfortable playing the ball around the back. It's just if he sees an option where he can boot it long, then he'll do it. Like, yeah. I've been really impressed by Sinisalo. I kind of felt sorry for him last weekend. He was out in the press, and then he loses his place to Schmeichel. But for me, the goalkeeping position, if that's our backup and long term he will be the future, then the goalkeeping position is looking pretty comfortable for years to come. If that's the way, if he's going to stay with us, like, and he carries on the form he's showing.
That's exactly how it should be, though, Willie. We've been talking about that production line in this pod for ages. And I don't have a problem with Schmeichel coming straight in when he's fit, right? Because he only lost his position due to injury. He didn't lose it due to form. So Sinisalo's done well in the interim. But Sinisalo knew when he signed at the club that he was going to be the backup and being mentored. So if you can sit there and go, all right, Casper's going to come back in, but then I'm going to get a game off, but then I'm going to come in midweek away at Aberdeen with a weakened team, and I'm going to get a 5-1 win. You take that every day of the week. Then you get trophy day. He's played enough games now as well, so it technically counts. You know how you got to play 5 games or something to get you officially count as a winner. He's got that as well. So yeah, it's just going to be one of those. It's just going to be one of those interesting ones all around where I don't have a problem with it now. Next season is where the question comes into it. Is Casper still the number one keeper? Has Sinisalo done enough to challenge him? Is Sinisalo going to get to the point where he's like, I want to go on loan in the second half of next season to keep his form up, heading into a World Cup? I don't know how Finland's qualifying is going, but is he going to want that? And also so he's match fit so then he can come back and take over for Casper when his contract's up. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Well, what we'll do now is we'll jump into what I said earlier, talking about Sean McArdle. So I just wanted to know, Willie, with the recent debut of Sean McArdle in the Celtic first team, what role should youth academy players have in the Celtic first team over the next 12 to 24 months? Now, there's a secondary question off the back of that. Would you like to see more youth academy prospects make their debut and show their wares at Celtic?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than watching homegrown players coming through. I mean, when I was in my 20s, Sean Maloney started breaking into the squad. It was great to see someone of a similar age to me sort of making his way into the Celtic teams and that. And we've had a lot of good players come through. We've had James Forrest, Kieran Tierney, Callum McGregor. And you look around the Scottish League, it's littered with players that used to be a Celtic youth, and they're now plying their trade, whether it's in the Championship or whether it's in the lower half of the Premier League or some of the other teams around there too. There's lots of players that have come out of the Celtic Youth Academy who have gone on to have reasonable careers, but we need to start producing more from it. And I think we can go through it time and time again. It comes up on the podcast. How do we sort this situation? For me, it's getting that B team promoted into the league structure where they can't go any higher than the Championship. They could win the Championship, but they would never be allowed in the Premier League. And it wouldn't just be good for Celtic, it would be good for Scottish football as a whole. This is the kind of model that teams in Portugal, teams in Holland, all these countries that go to the deep in the tournaments, the Euros, the World Cups, and that, they all have similar sort of structures where the big clubs are allowed to have B teams that play in the lower leagues. But that's something Scottish football will just put a pair of dark shades on, pull out a white cane when that evidence is produced in front of them, and just completely ignore it. Like,
Yep. So I agree with you. You also left out a couple of other big leagues that do it, Spain and Germany. And where's this rumored potential future Rangers manager coming from? Real Madrid, and he was involved with their B team, along with his old man and the old Nepo baby first team helped there too. But it's one of those ones where I look at it and go, I'd love to see us bring through more youth academy prospects, like to see guys like McArdle come in and show that they can do it. Guys like Doak, who came in, he showed he was able to do it. Great, it's good to see that. The thing is, it's the pathway because the players in front of them, as we've said, if you're a young midfielder like McArdle and you've got Kelmac and you've got Bernardo, and then you've got our club record signing Arnie Engels in front of you, and you've got Rio Hatade, and then you've got Luke McCowan, and then you've got Odin Home on loan who potentially wants to come back next season and have another crack at it. Where's McArdle fitting into this dynamic? Is he coming in to challenge for Odin Home's spot on the bench? Is he challenging to try and, take Bernardo's spot or take minutes off Calmac, or what's he trying to do? So there needs to be a pathway there. But I would love to see more prospects come in and show their wares. It needs to happen. The problem we have is once a player comes in and they show us a little bit of talent, the vultures down in England start sniffing around and go, how old are they? Have they signed a contract? Oh, let's just get them for compensation. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'd love to see it happen. And then off the back of that, though, Willie, if we start bringing through more youth academy prospects in the next 12, 24 months, do you think we'll see much of a change to Celtic's transfer policy? Now, the reason I'm saying that is, do you think we should prioritise signing players from the Scottish Premiership, keep signing prospects from abroad like we currently do, or look to have a strong combination of both moving forward, plus bringing through our youth players? The reason I'm asking all of this is so that we ensure we have enough homegrown players for our European squad over the next 5 to 10 years. Because if you look at it, Calmac's over 30, James is, 32, 33, something like that. Tierney's coming back, but he's like 27, 28. So we've got to have 8 homegrown players. So we need to look at something like that. But what are your thoughts? You're on mute again, Willie.
I think with buying Scottish players, it's great, but the players have to want to come to Celtic, and I think they're now looking at it. They look at some of the players who've come here in the past, players like Turnbull and that, where it just hasn't worked out. Some players in Scotland might get frightened that if I go to Celtic, that's my career, because it's just going to stall. So that is one hurdle that we need to look at, and how we would integrate players from Scottish League into the Celtic team, how to make them first team regulars straight away. But the other side of the coin is Celtic have a tendency to go in and lowball Scottish clubs. They kind of think they can just go in there and give them a lowball offer and just lowball offer the player wages too. Oh, you're on
John
two.
McGinn.
Yeah. You look at John McGinn, but then some of the other players, like, you could go in and say, "Oh, you're on £2,000 a week. We'll double your pay to £4,000 a week." And I don't know, Lennon Miller, he's probably on what, three, maybe £4,000 a week. We could go in and say, "Oh, here's double your money." You could get a team in Italy, a Genoa, a Bari, or someone like that, who would come in and say, "Well, hang on a second here, we'll give you £10,000 a week, and we'll give you 6 million to your club." But the Celtic will come in and go, "Oh, he's probably only worth 4, maybe 4.5 at the most. We'll give you 4.25, and then we'll bump it up with add-ons." You need to pay the money, but when you're buying from your own league, you kind of get a bit shy about spending bigger lump sums on players.
You say that, Willie, and then we look at Germany, right? And then you've got Bayern over there getting ready to give Leverkusen like 120 million euro or something like that for Verts, one of their players. So you look at it and go, we seem to be a bit too cute when it comes to trying to buy players off. Like I was like, wind the clock back a bit. Scott McKenna, when he was at Aberdeen, apparently we wanted him. They wanted 6 million for him because they know we've got money and they don't want to sell to their biggest rival at that point in time. So what happens? Like we're told 4, then they suddenly, they want 6. And we're like, no, we'll give you 5. And they said no. So it never happened. Then he goes down south for like 4.5 million. So that sort of thing. Ryan Porteous, same deal. Like that was affordable if we wanted to bring him in. Then you've got other guys there, like the Aaron Hickey situation. He goes, we could have brought him back, we didn't, and he goes off to Italy, absolutely kills it over there, and now look at him. So it's just a constant hamster wheel thing that we do as a club. And yeah, like I look at it going, I would rather, if we need to bring in another midfielder, say this off season, if Atade was to get sold, which is the story out there, right? The question is, would you rather go to Germany and buy another Arnie Engels, or would you rather pump all the cash we're basically going to get, the £6-7 million we're going to get from Leverkusen on the Frimpong add-on, pump all of that to give that to some of that to Motherwell and say, we'll take Leonard Miller for 5, done, here's the money, and then bring McArdle in and go, you two go in there and battle it out for that spot. That way you can look and go, does Bernardo come in? Does Leonard Miller start? Do you bring McArdle through? Then you've got the combination of domestic transfer, so there's going to be more money in Scotland, so then clubs like Motherwell can actually put more into their academy, and then the quality overall grows up that we can pick and choose off again, like what happens in Germany with like all those clubs where basically buy and pick and choose who they want. But at the same time, we're given an opportunity to our guys in the middle. Like, I would rather McArdle get a chance to break in. It's a bit of an interesting one. So I think we need to play this in a multi-tiered way, but we also have to be. It's going to sound dirty saying it, but we need to be a bit more like Ajax in that they will put a young player in with a couple of experienced. Like, if you're going to put McArdle in there, have Kelmack in with him. Help guide him through it for a year. The same way when Kelmack broke in, he had Bruni next to him to guide him through it for a year. The same way that, when Ryan Christie's breaking in, he's got Tom Rogic there. So we can stagger this and actually work it out. It makes sense. We can get more Scottish players in for the homegrown quota. We can bring through our youth players. But the other thing is, I have no idea what McArdle's contract situation is, but if he's come in and he's done well, you're going to start getting those leeches down in England sniffing around him again. So let's bring out some comments here. Smell the glove saying, I'd rather not sign another midfielder and give someone like Sean McArdle a proper chance. Pete McGee saying, I think we're often too quick to suggest young players are the business, but I genuinely thought McArdle looks like he has real talent and confidence, which is just as important. There was one point where he beat 4 Aberdeen players in one go. What do we got here? Heavy vibes. If he's good enough, he should get minutes. Get good minutes. Smell the glove. With Darren O'Day likely to be away to Swansea, I hope Celtic cast the net for a pathways manager, not just jobs for the boys. That is the main thing. And I'm going to sound a little controversial here. At least the Huns go and do that. We don't. We go jobs for the boys. Someone qualified to be in that role and to run that. We can't keep being this football club that we do. What do you think on that, Willie?
I'd probably end up with Charlie Mulgrew coming back in now that he's decided he doesn't want to be a manager and he's jacked the Celtic Hearts job after a couple of weeks. So Darren O'Day will move on and they'll bring Charlie Mulgrew back in. But it always is a jobs for the boys thing. I don't think they take the youth development seriously. Higher up at the food chain at Celtic, if I'm honest.
They probably look at it as a tax write-off. Spend $3 million on the academy every year to tax write-off.
Yeah.
Pete McGee saying, after seeing Doak disappear like he did, I think McArdle will be next on the EPL radar. Square Sausage really pisses me off. if we keep letting upcoming players leave. Pete McArdle's in a long queue for the midfield position. Why would people advocate for us to sign Lennon Miller? The only reason I said about Lennon Miller is I think it's a different position. I think McArdle, from what I've seen, is an 8. He's a box-to-box midfielder. Lennon Miller, in my opinion, is a 10. So if Rio Hatade, here's the closest thing we have to a 10 in this current squad. So if Hatade was to move, then we need to bring someone with a bit more creativity and playmaking ability, a 10, into the squad. And that's where I'd want to bring Lennon Miller in. But if Hatade was to stay, then I doubt would make a move for Lennon Miller. And then I'd be happy to stick with McArdle as the next young guy up. Yeah, so just going through some few more things here. What do we got here? Elephantitis of the Nuts is saying, not sure about Lennon Miller. Anytime I've watched him, I've not been impressed. Might have the answer to that in the shape of McArdle. I'm going to say something. I wasn't really impressed whenever I saw Turnbull play for Motherwell either. I think sometimes it's the standard around you. But yeah, well, and Smell the Glove saying he thinks Lennon Miller is a 6. Well, shows how different we're seeing things here. Yeah, but anyway, well, going to be an interesting one, but we'll figure it all out. But yeah, we'll watch this space, see how it all plays out. What's up, Willie? You having a laugh at something?
The square sausage, Mick. I think you got a notification from WhatsApp of that. It's just like on that light bulb moment. It's like bing. They saying you just had a great idea there.
I wish it was a great idea. Bloody text message. I forgot to put my phone on silent. Rookie mistake. Only like episode 400, coming up on episode 450 on this podcast, and I've just made a rookie mistake. Magic. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So, Willie, trophy day on Saturday against St Mirren at Celtic Park. How are you feeling heading into the match, and what are your general thoughts?
I can't be anything other than confident going into it. I mean, we're in a good run of form. I'm not sure if St Mirren will be up for it or not. I'm not sure if they'll field a full squad or they're already on holiday. What's going to be the mentality of them? Technically, they can still finish fifth if results go their way, but you know yourself, it's a Stevie Robinson side, so it's going to be robust. It's going to be a physical lineup.
Don't know what happened there, Willie. I didn't hear what you were saying, the second half of that.
I know, I just suddenly got on mute. So, sorry, I said technically they can still finish fifth if results go their way. So whoever they do feel it's going to be a robust physical side. Key to beat the Stephen Robinson side is just to move them around, tire them out, and hit them once their fatigue kicks in and the levels drop in the second half. So go for it there. So for me, I think that would be the best way to play this game.
Yeah, the way I look at it is we'll just get out there, play our football, wide open spaces of Celtic Park, in the sun. Heavy vibes are saying beers and sunshine on Saturday. You can't really complain about that. Just get out there and play our football and put them to the sword. That's the way I look at it. They're there to be got at. We've got guys who have had a rest midweek. They're up and about, wanting to be a starter in the cup final. So we've got to get in on trophy day. I think at the end of the day, which players do you think will have the biggest impact on us winning the game? All of them. That's my question there. But I want James here to have the biggest impact of the lot and smack an absolute howitzer in from just cross halfway and just put massive goal in there. End this conversation. He needs to score in season 16. Needs to happen.
I hope it does, but I could almost help him out by saying I guarantee you he won't score at the weekend, like because that's always when it goes wrong for me. So James Forrest definitely won't score this weekend.
Nice. So, what's your expected starting lineup, Willie?
I don't think we'll see match changes from what fielded at Pataudry. So I'll go Sinisalo, Ralston, Nawrocki, Scales, and Taylor in the back. Bernardo, McGregor, and McCowan in midfield. Forrest, Kenny, and Young up front.
Yeah, I think we'll go. I think Casper will come back in. So it'll be Casper in goals. Depending on how CCV pulls up, I'd rather give him an extra weekend off and get him right for the cup final. So I'd go with Nawrocki and Scales, and then I'll go Ralston. I'd go Taylor, middle of the park, Engels, McGregor, Bernardo, and then up front, yeah, would go Kun, Ida, and Jamesy. There it is. Now, that's a good point, elephantitis, but we'll get to that one in a sec. So, Square Sausage Mixing, just being silly, but imagine if it's 0-0 with a minute to go in the final. We get a pen. Do we let Forrest take it? I was saying in one of the group chats I'm in today that he's going to score in the cup final. It's written in the stars. So, yeah, but an elephantitis is saying if Forrest bangs in one past Sinisalo or Casper, would that count for his goal, the season achievement? It's an own goal. It's technically a goal, so it could actually be on a technicality. You got to love it. Smell the glove saying I wouldn't receive severe dazing on Saturday. Yeah, neither would I. And as John's saying here, I just hope Celtic fans take care on Saturday. The town will be full of Orangemen. Will be looking for a fight. Yeah, 100%. So look after yourselves. Take care. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the party. And yeah, long may it continue. I can't wait from this side of the world to see all the green smoke bombs going off and celebrations and everything. It's going to be class. So, score prediction, Willie, for the game on the weekend?
3-0. 3-0 for me, yeah.
I'll say 4-0, just for fun. My goal scorer is pretty simple. Ida's going to have a hat trick, and I'll stick to it as long as I can. 88th minute goal from Ralston, just for fun.
Yeah, for me it'll be Ida and not Forrest, but Yang. Sorry, the other winger. The Forrest is definitely not going to score. 100% not going to score this weekend. And Ricardo, I think he'll get a goal. I think
Oh,
he
there
can
we go.
eventually score.
Square Sausage Mix saying 4-0. Smell the Glove is saying smash a hun and 5-0 on Saturday. Heavy Vibes is saying 6-0. Smell the Glove is saying 5-1 Saturday. So, yeah, it's going to be a great one. What we'll do, we'll start to wrap the pod up. Willie, you got a final thought for us?
Final thought for me is I think I've already recommended it at the start of the season as Andor season 2, but I've got watched the whole way through it. So for me, that was a 10 out of 10 entertainment.
Fair enough. For me, it's pretty simple. Be safe and celebrate hard. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.